Hey, it's Dave Rexroth. It's about 9:15, and I want to give you a little idea what we're in for the next 24 hours or so, maybe a little bit more than that, but not much more than that. It's kind of interesting because we had the quick warm up, a little bit of snow over the weekend, and today got colder again. Now we're back to trying to warm up overnight time, but especially tomorrow and Wednesday, there'll be a quick drop again. We're in this flow where these Alberta clippers come from the northwest. They originate in Alberta, Canada. That's why they're called that. They're pretty fast moving storms usually. Come a little burst of snow and a little bit of wind, and then back behind this, when the pattern starts to shift, it's just going to lock us back into these cold temperatures. That's what you can see what's going on right now. This is the leftovers from a cold day today where we just got into the 20s again. It's only 1 degree right now in Port Sanilac, 2 in Ann Arbor, 9 in Port Huron. It is not supposed to be this cold. Lapeer, sorry, didn't mean to leave you out, 9 as well. Not supposed to be this cold this time of year. Our average high should be in the upper 30s. We might get there Wednesday for just a brief moment in time, but again, it's back to the cold after Wednesday's storm finally moves out. I was just out getting a bite to eat, and I'm still cold, so I kept my jacket on to do this with you, just to show you what's going on. So let's talk about the first storm. There's going to be two different storms coming in. It's cold now. It's really cold now, and so it takes us a long time to warm up. And the issue will be tomorrow with the storm that's out by Minneapolis now. That's our tomorrow storm. It'll be mostly, if not all, in the morning. And then the one that's in the northwest, that'll be Tuesday night, starting again. Two storms in one day, different, completely separate storms. That one will be into Wednesday as well. That one will be a little warmer, a little juicier. So that one's a bit more hard to handle in terms of a forecast, but I'll give you a shot at what I think right now could be some snow totals with that one, and of course this one as well. So here's talking about tomorrow. You notice the time frame on the left. By the way, my chat box that's supposed to be up showing me your comments and stuff is spinning, and definitely it's not working. So I'm sorry that I can't answer questions directly, but I'll try and be as thorough as I can to give you an idea on timing and what to expect on the roads. That's what this is really all about. So tomorrow morning, about 7 o'clock, moving in from the west through the morning till around lunchtime, it's mostly snow. If there's some light freezing rain or some freezing drizzle mixed in, it's most likely now a little bit after the morning drive. I'm not telling you to go out there and go crazy because it's probably snowing during the morning drive, especially on the west side. So take it easy. But it looks like if there is some freezing precip, it's probably after the morning drive. In my mind, I'm thinking after 9 o'clock. All right, so that's the first batch, and I'll show you totals with that coming up in just a little bit. And then the second batch is the widespread snow kicks in Tuesday evening, especially late. You can see you put 10 o'clock on there tomorrow night through the night until about 3 a.m. So in the middle of the night, the difference is there's some warmth with this storm, so that starts to get into parts of the metro area like Detroit, Monroe, maybe Adrian, maybe Ann Arbor as well. So it stays as snow north and west more so than Detroit and south, where it starts to change over to some rain. Now, not real concerned about a lot of freezing precip at that point because the temperature should be much warmer. The freezing drizzle or freezing rain that's quite light tomorrow morning is just because we start so cold and there could be some moisture dropping into that cold surface temperature before it warms up tomorrow in the afternoon. All right, then about noon on Wednesday, that mixture starts to change back to all snow. We get on the backside of the system. Remember, they're pretty fast moving. And the cold air starts rushing back in here. We'll have a little burst of snow at the end of this. So that's the timing. Here's what it looks like in terms of graphically. This is tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock. You see the warm front. Warm front lifts the air, lifts the moisture up, so you get the clouds first. They'll develop overnight. Our temperatures actually might come up just a little bit before morning. From very cold to just cold, and then they'll try to keep coming up as the day goes along. They'll do that more so in the afternoon when we get behind the warm front. So that's why this is all snow in the morning. So there's a peek at what's coming at us on the map. This is what it looks like, I think, in terms of snowfall. South of Detroit, well, let's put it this way, Detroit and Ann Arbor. So I-94 and south looks like it's less than an inch. Now, I know that's not much. Look at the time frame in the upper left-hand corner there with the banner. 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. But you know how it is. You get a quarter or half inch of snow on an overpass, you could have problems. So you're going to have to probably slow down a little bit. And then as you start to go north from Detroit, I put the whole northern section of town in the 1 to 2 inch band. But there are certainly higher chances to get 2 inches in Port Sanilac than in Howell. Higher chances to get 2 inches in Lapeer than in Mount Clemens. So as you go, it doesn't mean you couldn't have a few spots like Pontiac to get a couple of inches, but it's much more likely that you get the higher amounts. I know this isn't much, north of I-69, and a lot of spots in the northern suburbs are probably going to be 1 to 1.5 by the time this is done. All right, that's the first batch. That's tomorrow. Then here's the second one. It is a little slower moving. It's a little more substantial. It's a little juicier. It's got some more moisture. So this is 9 o'clock in the evening Tuesday. Remember I said it's just kicking in a little bit after this? And you can see it's a rain-snow combination. So I wanted to dig in a little bit more here and show you some timing on that and run this in till about 10 o'clock. So you see it coming in from the west. It's mostly snow here. I'll let that run to the middle of the night. This is kind of trying to match some of that timing that I showed you on that first graphic. So here's 3 a.m. Still mostly snow, but notice Lenawee, Monroe County, out by Jackson, starting to mix in with some rain here. And as we go through the overnight into Wednesday morning, there may be just a brief pause in the middle of this thing. It's called a dry slot. Sometimes when storms get kind of energized, they get spun up so much they get a little bit of dry air or in the middle of them, and they call that a dry slot. But the point is, this is running through rush hour. You might have some issues on the roads there, but warmer, so not a big concern. And then we'll stop it here at lunchtime, and by that point, the warmth is already starting to kick east. We're starting to change back over to snow. Remember I had this on that first graphic around lunchtime, around noon on Wednesday. And then there's this burst of snow at the end before it finally kicks out. Now, I think this is a little fast on how it moves through. This is almost 6 o'clock or so on Wednesday. I think it might hold on a little bit longer than that. But that's the general idea, and it looks like by the time we get to Wednesday evening, this thing is kicking off to the east pretty fast. So again, a little bigger storm, a little slower, a little warmer around Detroit and to the south, and then a little colder on the northwest side. So look at this again in the banner up there. This is Tuesday night, 10 p.m. to Thursday morning, 7 a.m. Now the vast majority of the snow is going to fall Tuesday night to the middle of the night, and then back at us again Wednesday midday through the afternoon. Now, yes, there's probably going to be some rain around Detroit to the south, so that white area is the 1 to 2. That's the smallest because of that. But if you got an inch or an inch and a half in Detroit, and then you got a couple hours of rain, by the time it gives us that last little batch of snow, there may not be much on the roads. But temperatures, again, are going to be dropping late Wednesday, and that becomes an issue Wednesday night into Thursday. As you go farther northwest, look at the bullseye. Much of Livingston County, northwest half or so of Oakland County up through Lapeer, back to Flint. That's where temperatures probably stay coldest. Mix in a decent amount of moisture, mostly snow more than anything. That's why I put 3 to 5 there. Again, this does not include tomorrow morning. This is the second round. That's going to be late Tuesday evening through Wednesday evening into Thursday morning. All right. Now, if we get more warmth to push a little farther north, obviously we'll have to change some of these numbers north of Detroit. And if we get this whole system to move farther south, then that puts colder air into Detroit too. It's only about, what is it now? It's coming up on 9:25. So we're 48 hours from this basically being over. But the point is, it's still just coming on shore, as I showed you earlier, in the Pacific Northwest. We don't get a lot of reports. We don't get a lot of information over the Northern Pacific. So once it gets on land, we have a much better feel, and we have a much better amount of information to look at and try to digest. So I wouldn't be surprised if these numbers change a little bit, but the general idea is warmest Detroit and south. So a burst of snow there Tuesday evening, Tuesday overnight early, then some rain, then back to snow at the end. But temperatures may be pretty warm at that point. So again, the road's probably best in that white area, Detroit to the south, and then the bullseye where it stays a little bit colder, a little farther to the north in northern Oakland, Livingston, Lapeer, and Genesee counties. All right, so two separate systems. Real quick on the forecast here for overnight tonight. We are down, as I showed you, real cold now. We don't change a whole lot for low temperatures, but I think all the numbers I'm showing you here on the screen are probably a little bit low from where we actually start tomorrow morning, say 7, 8 o'clock. Not because the sun's up, because there won't be any sun at 7, 8 o'clock, but just because we should warm up a little bit with the wind increasing from the southwest and the cloud cover thickening up as well. The cold is there with the snow coming in, and that's why most of it will be snow, but there's just a slight chance for a little bit of freezing precip, again, mid to late morning. See the snow going through here tomorrow and kicking out in the afternoon. Then eventually, with a pretty good southwest wind, 15 to 25, we get back around freezing or a little bit higher. Got 35, the highest spot in Detroit. Look at the top left-hand corner again. Underneath it says tomorrow's forecast, average high is 39. So this is at least getting back to the 30s here. We just fell out of November right on our faces into winter on December here. I know that skiers are happy. A lot of the ski joints opened up around here locally over the weekend, this last weekend, and the snowmobilers are happy, all that great stuff. But it certainly has switched in a hurry from November to December. So the next couple of days, eventually 35 Tuesday, then 39 Wednesday. That's that push of warmth through the middle of the day. And then as we get back behind these two systems, we get cold enough, highs in the 20s, lows in the teens, maybe even 10 Sunday morning, Monday morning. Those are just temperatures. Wind chills could be worse. But it's cold enough that Lake Michigan becomes active again with lake effect possibilities, and that's why I put little chances in there for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But the key there is going to be back to really, really cold stuff, like today or colder. And again, we're not supposed to be here. All right, so that's a scoop. One storm tomorrow morning. And again, my little chat box is broken down here. I apologize. Otherwise, I'd be answering your questions. I'll work on getting that fixed. One tomorrow morning. Let me go back real quick and show you. Snow amounts, not a ton, but some slippery spots probably. That's this batch here. 1 to 2 north of Detroit, less than 1 Detroit, Ann Arbor to the south. And then the second one late tomorrow evening through Wednesday night, basically early. I put to 7 a.m. on here in case some of the snow showers off Lake Michigan start to kick in a bit up north. But 1 to 2 Detroit and south through Adrian, through Monroe, 2 to 3 Ann Arbor to Mount Clemens, up through Port Huron, the thumb. I think the bullseye doesn't go all the way up into the thumb, but it's Lapeer County, northern Oakland County, northwest half of Oakland County, Livingston, and Genesee counties. All right. I got to get ready here. It's coming up on 9:30. I'll see you at 10 o'clock on TV 20 Detroit. And again, at 11, well, actually, it's after the football game, right?